Hello, I wanted to start a thing where I talk about what each game from the Elder Scrolls brings to the table and what the Elder Scrolls 6 should take from each game. So today I'm going to be focused on Daggerfall, and I want to do a quick aside before I get into that. I want to acknowledge I've had a lot of negativity with some of my content where I complain about Skyrim or I trash on Morrowind, and I'm going to be moving away from that for a little bit at least. I honestly I do like a little bit of drama to keep things exciting, but that really isn't the point of my videos. It's just a minor side thing. So enough of that. Looking forward to the Elder Scrolls 6. Eh, what we can take from each game is first, I think all of them are incredible in their own way, and this is what Daggerfall looked like back in the day. It's a very old game. It came out in '96. I know I'm not alone when I say that each time I played one of these games, it really sparked my imagination for what could come in the future. And I think that's largely why I'm harsh on Skyrim, just because it's the newest. I expected to have everything I loved about Morrowind, but even better. Sorry, and Oblivion. That's obviously my favorite if you've watched my channel. I was certain Levitation was making a comeback because that only went away due to technical limitations, right? Hand to hand was going to become martial arts, and I was going to be punching arrows back at enemies if I timed it right. We were going to get more birth signs. We were going to get more of this that were cool, especially for warriors and barbarians. I think this is really the only warrior birth sign in Oblivion. And imagine if they added to this, they added a berserker, and the berserker can't wear armor, but they have a constant speed and damage buff, and that would be my go-to. I would love that to have positive and negatives. And Oblivion kept a little bit of that. We have the Atronach has a lot of powerful defenses, a big magical pool, but you don't regen magicka. And the Apprentice, it's probably my favorite one because you become a glass cannon, and this weakness to magic really prevents a lot of the cheesiness that you can do in Oblivion. So I think that's what Daggerfall brought to the table that was unique and what I hope the Elder Scrolls 6 takes from Daggerfall. So I want to transition now into Daggerfall. This probably won't happen, but let an old man dream. So at Daggerfall, at character creation, here, this probably will show it the best. You're allowed to pick, you pick a lot of things, but you can pick your max hit points per level over here, and you can pick advantages and disadvantages. They call them special advantages and special disadvantages. And each one has like a set amount of points that will slide this slider up or down. And so if you pick a lot of advantages to make your character better, like maybe you regenerate health in darkness, which is really obscure, or you have increased magery, so 3 times int and spell points, or you have acute hearing, so you can hear enemies from farther away, or only in light you have spell absorption. These all move this bar up and make skill advancement more difficult. And then let's say you added some weaknesses, some disadvantages, like maybe you take double damage from shock spells, or you never resist paralysis, or you lower your health points per level. It's going to go down to where you advance your skills faster. Now, this is a very janky system, and if I go to, well, that's the mod, but it doesn't matter. If we look at all of these, there's a whole bunch of them. Some of them are really weird, and I'm scrolling kind of fast, but basically each one is a point where if it's plus 10 points, immunity to frost would move the bar up 10 points. That person picked increased magery, however you say that, plus 10 points. Where if you add critical weakness, where you're going to take double damage from frost, it's minus 14, so it's going to move down. I think it's really hard to balance a game with a ton of these, though, the concept is really, really cool. You even have specific ones where your character acts different in light, in darkness, in water. I couldn't imagine a game being smart enough to have me regenerate health only when I'm standing in water. Like it just, that's a concept so foreign to me after playing Oblivion and Skyrim and even Morrowind, which is old like this. It really did take out a lot of weird, cool things that just aren't in video games anymore. So, what this could look like for Elder Scrolls 6, for example, we don't really need to implement it in this ham-fisted way where it's like, okay, here's the list of them, pick what you want, and it's going to change how fast your skills level. Oblivion had 3 different types of magical stones, but, I love them, but they are kind of lackluster. Imagine if one of them caused you to heal while you're underwater, and you could breathe underwater with it. And maybe it comes with weakness to shock. Who knows? The possibilities there are limitless. And, you know, even some of the more like ridiculous stuff at character creation, I think could be a good thing. Imagine if you decided you could pick something, like you check a box at the beginning and it's called Arcane Recluse. And that Arcane Recluse, it means you get a massive boost to Magicka and Magicka regen, but you can't buy or sell goods. You just can't barter because you picked that. Or, my favorite would be like the ugly one. Let's say you wanted to, like, what's a good one? Who's ugly? None of these are that ugly. It's kind of handsome people. Yeah, dang, I thought one of these birth signs would be ugly to hammer my point home. But maybe you could pick an ugly birth sign, or even if it's not a birth sign, just an advantage or disadvantage, and it causes prices to be higher. It leads to speech penalty checks. But you get to pick a health, stamina, or Magicka boost to go along with it. The limit to that is just the dev's creativity. It really could be really cool, and, or it could just destroy the balance of the game. And I think therein lies the problem, and why we probably won't see it for the Elder Scrolls 6. It would be difficult to balance, and they'd have to patch in fixes, which is more work. But I think it opens up so many role-playing opportunities, as well as unique and fun, interesting builds for later playthroughs. Your first playthrough, you might not want to take double damage from shock and frost and fire so I can run faster. But on your fourth playthrough, maybe, who knows? And they could be temporary ones. Maybe you go to a standing stone and you pick one that's not permanent. Maybe it's at character creation. Maybe it's a birth sign. Maybe it's just some races. In Morrowind, Argonians, I think, couldn't wear shoes or helmets, I think. I can't remember. It's been a long time. But the racial differences could even be higher, too, where some of them are really big negatives and really big positives. So I think if the Elder Scrolls 6 takes anything from Daggerfall, I really hope it's just the idea that characters should have big advantages and big disadvantages. It adds tons for role-playing, and it adds tons for replayability. I think it's the best thing that could be added. Let me know what you think in the comments. And for those of you who know Daggerfall better than me, you could let me know too, correct things that I got wrong. The only reason I didn't start with Arena is, I'm under the age of 65 and I haven't played it, and I haven't played a ton of Daggerfall either. So, Dad, if you're listening, you can let us know. Grandpa, you too. That's all I got. Thanks for listening.